Oh yeah.
Hello, everybody,
Awesome.
and
That's a
welcome
nice
to.
graphic at the end.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for all of my amazing guests, and welcome to the Entertainment Headquarters, and welcome to Kaiju Connections. This is my segment on the channel that is dedicated to all things kaiju and giant monsters from film, television, and beyond. And right now, it is time for the second Kaiju Connections fantasy filmmaking stream. And the Kaiju Connections fantasy filmmaking stream, it is the King Kong edition, where each of my amazing guests have now come up with their own, fantasy film story, and we're going to share it to you, the audience, and the world. And to do this, like I say, my guests are the one and only Jedi Granville from Jedi Granville Productions, Kaiju Enigma Ultra Jake, the Professor Dan Miller, and of course BBW Big Bad Wolf. So, King Kong. What can we say? King Kong, he is an icon of the world of giant monsters in the world of kaiju. He's been born ever since 1933 on the big screen. And here we are to celebrate and talk a little bit about King Kong in our own, creative way. And we have my flock in the audience. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for joining us.
How you doing, sir?
Yes, please
Hello.
like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to comment on anything that you find interesting during the show. But King Kong, we know who he is, we know the main story from many, many years ago. But we all have come up with our own unique ideas. So we're going to start with my first guest, Mr. Jedi Granville.
Wow. Let's just say, and just in case no one knows, I'm black.
No. Who would have guessed?
Yes, yeah. If you didn't know that, now you know. But anyway, I could be Italian, I could be Hispanic, but But anyway,
You could have been ginger.
they could be ginger. Never know. I mean, I've seen some ginger blacks before. So anyway, getting to on the
You
topic.
could have been that.
No, this I wasn't even going to be originally on this stream because I didn't have anything in the canon to warrant something that was worthy of what I had in mind, what I've shown to Kevin, or at least bits and pieces. But this is so weird, how things work. And I've always been a very active-minded person when it comes to imaginary things. And for some reason, this came to me not when I fell asleep during the time yesterday when we was together, but when I did go to sleep later on that night, and something came to me in a vision where I'm seeing Kong in the clouds. He's shaped in the cloud formation for some reason, and then it just kind of clicked. I said to myself, wait a minute. Recently, we've been talking about the human vapor. And go figure, put one and two together. It's like, what about a vapor Kong? What about the concept of that? He's not a villain. It's like he's actually going to use this particular essence of him to fight other creatures. This is what's so weird about this. And just to get kind of clarify a little bit of this, it's because his size in this particular universe, he's actually in the so-called monsterverse, alternate world, as the saying goes.
All right.
Okay.
So this could potentially be like some sort of another version of the monsterverse.
True. It's a total multiversal version of him, and this is something that I just came up out of the whim, and it's like, you know what? Okay, we got the concept of him being that, but how did he become this? What he is? This is a human vapor form. Anyway, so this actually takes place how he become vapor. It takes place in the late 90s. Surprisingly, he escapes from Skull Island. I mean, when I say, let me kind of retract that. Because he didn't necessarily escape. He can leave at any whim. I mean, human beings, they can only do so much. So he leaves and he goes to South America. You know, and it's during the summertime. It's during the time down there. It is very kind of like here. It's kind of humid. It's kind of hot. It's kind of misty. But down there, they're trying, and this is what's so weird about this story because Kong is almost always a victim of circumstance. Certain things he gets caught up in, and he has to play the card. He has to play the card he's dealt with. So
Yes.
down here, it's not even Monarch. Just to let you know, this is not Monarch. This is some organization that's trying to create some kind of artificial wormhole of their own. And the natural ones they have that we see through Monarch, the show, and everything. This is something that they're
Yes.
trying to do in terms of vanishing, the titans that are existing in the world that we see around us. Okay, so Kong is what's up and new to us?
US.
Hello.
We are some sexy MFs. That's right, sir. We
The
are.
only dumb monkey is the one commenting on this stream.
That's well, I thought I was the monkey, so I mean that's another story.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Dude. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Don't get me channel bored for that.
Yes, yeah, that's. Trust me, I said it, so it won't. But anyway, oh, okay. Let me back up. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Okay, back to what I was saying. Okay, they're creating basically a black hole of their own. Basically, that's basically what these things are, and anything that's done by man is never going to be. It's almost like they're playing God, in a sense. But in this particular moment, them playing God does have some, some kind of effect. And Kong is down there, just blithely walking around. This is his environment and whatever. And we see that this, big, like building size circular particle accelerator, basically what it is. That's what I call it. And like I say, they're trying to create this kind of portal where it's like they can send other titans of this time to other places. Okay, see, there you see it right there. All right.
Oh, okay.
So they started up, but I mean, like I say, Kong is just standing there. That's one thing about the Titans, especially like Kong or even Godzilla. They can sense if something is, amiss, or anything like that. But he doesn't attack because he doesn't sense it as dangerous yet. But they activate this thing, thinking that it's going to be harmless. In terms of and they figure since Kong is there, it's like, well, they can try it on him. But what happens is they activate the damn thing. They start spinning.
Don't know what's going on with this.
Don't worry, we like your wife. We like your ginger self. Don't worry about that. But as I say, I'll explain as you're going along. But like I say, he's standing next to it, and they kind of activate it. They figure well, he will be the first example or guinea pig, as we like to say. And it's just by chance he's standing there. So they tried out, and the
Not letting this there.
there you go. See, that's why we do it live.
It's with uploading 20,000 pictures for John. It's cost.
Yes, that's all it is. But getting back to that, it's
Carry on.
Okay. They start up the thing, like I say, give you an idea. They start up the thing and it starts circling, it starts glowing bluish, it starts doing all this. And in the midst of all this, somehow this thing is able to detect Titan size, inhabitants around it for some reason. Just I guess it's able to do that. So it zaps him. It zaps Kong, and this particle being just pretty much shoots at him. And where he's at, if you notice, it's kind of humid. It's kind of mystified in the area. So it pretty much takes what elements that is of him and of the surroundings. Like I say, it's and just to give you an idea, it's circular and it's like I say, it's spinning around too. That's the other thing. So it hits him.
Oh wow.
So it hits him, but the next moment it pretty much vaporizes him in a way. It turns him into mist. And the thing about it is, you think that, okay, did they disintegrate him? Did they destroy him? And this, like I say, this is in the late 90s, but this is what's going to be kind of interesting. They think they might have killed him, or at least they think they might have, sent him into another void. See, this is where he turns into mist. That's pretty much.
Oh wow.
He disappears. He's done. He's gone. He's by. It's like bye bye. See you later, big alligator. Anyway, so he's done for, and we do a time cut because he's been kind of like Mr. Manhattan. He reconstitutes, and it takes time for him to kind of reconstitute into his, primitive self of his size again. But he'll be in vapor form, and this is where we transport ourselves. This is what's so weird. I mean, I don't know why I thought of it, but he transports himself. He reforms himself in modern day London, England. Okay.
Ooh.
So
interesting.
And well, I should show that one where he's standing next to Big Ben, if you have that. Yes, that one. Say, and that's him. Is like I say, that's him in vapor form. It almost seems ghostly, but it's more like I say, he's more like I say, he's gaseous. It's like, but he has his conscious, he has his memories and everything, but he has the ability to now he can just float through anything. Like I say, show that image where he's just floating through the city.
This one.
Yes,
is that one?
That one right there.
Wow.
He could just do that. He just like mist. He just or vapor, any kind of gaseous form, flows through it without something stopping him. But the thing about that is, he's able, since time has, because like I say, this took place where he was assimilated in the late 90s. Almost 30 years later, he's able to constitute and reform himself into his gaseous form of himself, his former self, and he's able to actually, and this is kind of weird, like I say, some kind of muscle memory, or what you want to call it, is able to grasp or attack certain titans that are aggressive, the ones who are really a threat to mankind. So
excuse me,
him attacking Baragon was attacking London, and somehow Kong can sense him, and he gets him in a chokehold right there.
Oh wow.
And I feel this is such, like I say I didn't want to pick some kind of titan that was what you call territorial, in terms of like they're just destroying stuff, in terms of for one, they have to be somebody that's actually a threat to the planet or the humankind. And I feel Baragon is one of those creatures. So Baragon is he's on a power trip trying to attack the Londoners, trying to do whatever. But Kong says like, not today, motherfucker. Gets a grab of me. He's got him like, yeah. It's like, not in my house, not in this place, I don't care what I am. I'm still gonna be, a kind of threat to you individuals who try to, be aggressive like that. So, like I say, gets him in that chokehold, and in a way, he doesn't necessarily kill him, but he lets him know it's like, I'm a threat to be reckoned with. So this is a power now that is easily, it would take a lot to really, take him out, because like I say, Kong's always been, we know that Godzilla can easily beat him. We know this, but now he's not so unbeatable because he's in this form now. So this is just an idea I had in my mind, and this is like say with this power, he's literally someone who could try to stop or try to infiltrate any incoming threat, whether it be from underground, from the hollow earth, or even from outer space.
Mm-hmm.
And I just leave it at that because it's like you let your imagination run with that because with that power, like what can really destroy him? It could be possible, because anything that has a certain power, there is something else that can probably defeat him. But with that, he can dissipate really quick and reconstitute at will, you know. So, but that was something that as I say, that was something I came up on the fly, and I just said to myself, he's like, how is it that I was able to come up with something like that outrageous when I didn't have nothing in the tank earlier? And I was just like, I ain't got nothing. I was like, I really busted my brain trying to think of something. I was like, I can't think of nothing. Go figure, in a dream, a crazy dream of mine, brought it to life. So,
well, I think it's a very interesting concept, and it's a twist on the Kong tale.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. It was just on the tip of my tongue, but it's a very revolutionary take on Kong. Is what I think of what I'm trying to say. It's very revolutionary.
It's like a modern twist on the story that he's, despite him going through an experiment that was no will of his own, and becoming like this new version of himself, but at the core of who he is, he's still Kong.
I also like
he's not lost his essence of who he is or what he is or what he was before.
I think the tagline for the film should be "Farewell, Kong, you will be missed."
Interesting.
I like that. I like that. It's like you will be MIST. I like that.
Because it's like a dad joke in of itself.
That's actually that's really brilliant. Yeah, I like that.
Write that down, Walter. Write that down.
Yeah, no, I got it in my head. It's already sealed, locked, sealed, delivered. It's mine.
Good. Now, what I like is the little nod to Frankenstein Conquers the World, because Frankenstein, which is originally meant to be King Kong versus Frankenstein when Toho was doing it, that was meant to be Baragon fighting Frankenstein, but here it's mystified Kong fighting Baragon, which is a really nice twist.
Poor Baragon, he just can't catch a break.
No.
And it's interesting because I know
L's after L's.
But I know Kevin had mentioned before that ever was ever going to be the thing that I was going to use, and I hadn't even thought about that. And it's like it's funny that I immediately thought about Baragon for this other than ever, because I know with Ever of the Horror of the Deep, that was originally supposed to be Kong in the Godzilla, where Godzilla is supposed to be.
Very true.
But somehow it's like that didn't click. But I'm glad that Daniel brought that up about that's originally what was Baragon supposed to be fighting. He was supposed to be fighting, that. Yes, So, see.
Well, with that said, should we just go with Drake Hall next?
Let's hit it.
Yeah, Mr. Enigma himself.
So, I wanted to come up with something that had been done before, that was originally supposed to had happened, but never happened. So, I was like, you know what? I want this is going to take place in the Monsterverse, this story. But this is going to take place between Kong Skull Island and King of the Monsters. So this is still going to be the juvenile Kong. But, believe it or not, my story is entitled, I put King Kong, but it's King Kong versus Zebra.
Oh.
So, and I actually drew this, and it took me 5 hours to do this. So, after the end of Skull Island, you know, Tom Hiddle's character and them, they're in the boardroom, and after they discover, there's more than one king and whatnot, they also had to devise a plan to go back to Skull Island. So this this operation from Monarch, believe it or not, was supposed to be the original title for the Eberhard of the Deep. Robin, Robin, ugh,
Robin,
I just
I know. Yeah, I can't even say myself.
Robin Caruso, Kong versus Ebra. So this is Operation Robinson Crusoe. So forgot the African American guy's name. The one that wore the glasses. He's he's devising the plan and all that. And Tom Hiddleston's character is hesitant to go back because of what has happened and transpired. Well, he ends up becoming part of the team now, and they're going to go back to the island. Well, as they're getting ready, there's an evil organization that is trying to go to the island as well, but for a different reason. They're trying to find a mineral. And as they're trying to locate this mineral, because they're already on the island, they've already made it to the island. I'm going to call them Dab.
Dab.
Yeah, it's the only thing that came up to my mind. Okay. Diabolical assassination deadline, whatever. I could come up with a better one, but Dab is what they're called. So they have already arrived on the island. They're searching for this mineral. But in doing so, they come across a sacred burial ground that's near this lake type thing. And one of the minions is like, hey, check this out. So kind of like in GMK, there's a little stone statue. There's like a symbol from the Iwi tribe that have placed this statue right here that has sealed Ebra away. Titanus Ebra. So Tom Hiddleston's character and I think his name is Jones, I think was his name. I think. I'll have to rewatch it. But anyway, they arrive on the island with their Monarch team. And, they're keeping an eye on Kong, see how he's doing and maintaining. Set up a base there. Well, Dab accidentally knocks over the sacred statue. And because of that, the water starts bubbling, the ground starts shaking, and then all of a sudden, Ebra comes out, starts doing its roar, all of that. It's a blend. This Ebra is going to be a blend of both the Millennium and Showa, but this one is a little bit different. In this case, this Ebra actually has special abilities. So as Dab is trying to kill the creature, it takes its pincher, and when it does the little snap, kind of like how you mentioned Big Bad Wolf about that shrimp that does the claw under the water.
Pistol shrimp.
Yeah, the pistol shrimp. Instead of it doing like that shockwave, when he does it, it can does an electrical impulse and creates electricity and literally shocks every member of the Dab group, which ends up killing most of them except one who, oddly enough, was smart enough to hide behind the boulders like, oh, I gotta get the F out of here. I ain't getting paid for this shit. So Kong, as Tom Hiddleston's character and Jones are keeping an eye on Kong, Kong senses danger or senses a disturbance, like somebody is invading his territory. So he goes and investigates, and that's when he sees Ebra. And Kong does his mighty chest pounding.
Mm-hmm.
Ebra does his, and they start clashing left and right. Ebra uses his big pincher to basically bitch slap Kong, and Kong goes flying into a mountainside. Kong,
Oh.
Kong, with his resources, grabs a big boulder, jumps up, and just basically smashes the rock on Ebra. Ebra's like, and then he raises his big claw, does the little snap, causing the electrical. Kong backs away, fur a little singed from the fight. And they're like, how in the world is he supposed to defeat this crustacean? In a way. And Tom and them are like, he'll find a way. He's got resources, but we need to stop this guy from running away. So as they're chasing him, Kong's still battling Ebra in the sea or in the lake area where he's come up from. Hiddleston and them catch up to the bad guy.
That.
No comment on that.
Yeah.
But so Tom Hiddleston and Jones catch up to the bad guy, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" He explains his details, like his organization wanted to find this mineral, but he gave up because that creature, that giant shrimp lobster thing, killed all his men. So he's like, I just want to get out of here. And they make a deal with him saying, well, if you come with us and work with Monarch, we can come up with a deal for you. If the way you won't have to deal with all this. And he's like, okay, deal. They shake. So they try to get off the island. As Kong is still battling Ebra, Ebra uses his short claw, grabs his arm, and then swings him kind of like how Kong did Suko back and forth. So Ebra's doing that, throws Kong almost to the other side of the lake area. And then he comes across, because like in Skull Island, he finds the ship anchor and uses it as a. But in this case, he finds this metal spear-like thing protruding out from a ship, and he's like, and he ends up grabbing it. And as Ebra's fixing to do the clip thing, he takes it, uses it like a samurai sword, and cuts off Ebra's arm. Then cuts off his other arm, and then swings back up and goes through the mouth to the back of the head, through the brain cavity, defeating Ebra. And after he defeated Ebra, he does this little chest pounding, and kind of like how Kong did with the Meyer squid, he takes it back to consume it as a food source to help him grow stronger. And as Tom Hiddleston's character and Jones and the former bad guy from Dab, they go off away from Skull Island, report back to Monarch, and basically get with Rebecca Hall's character, and basically explains what all has transpired, all of that, and we need to set up a base on Skull Island so we can keep an eye on Kong. And she agrees. And that is the end of the story.
And that's what leads into basically, Godzilla versus Kong, when that explains why there's a base on the island.
Yep.
Nice.
Very ingenious.
I like how in depth you have gone in terms of both the characters and the overall continuity, especially the little nod to what Ebra Horror of the Deep was originally meant to be. But I really do like the brutal spin you put on Kong finishing Ebra.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Because he's he's very aggressive in Kong Skull Island for sure. So
because let's be honest, when it comes to the MonsterVerse, but you look up, obviously each film tends to be a sequel of a previous film. So the only one that isn't, I would say, is Kong Skull Island, because that's more like a prequel. And any other film, say Godzilla 2014, and you have Kong Skull Island, which is the prequel before 2014, and then anything after Kong Skull Island in the world of the MonsterVerse in film form is a direct sequel. Then obviously the only thing we have outside of that is bridging the gap is the Monarch Legacy Monster series, which is a prequel series. So it's nice to have a concept of a movie that could potentially be another prequel movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So my friend BBW, Big Bad Wolf, because you've got 30,000 images.
Listen, I at least sent 22 of the ones I think that matter.
And it's getting more difficult to figure out what the hell's what. I'm going to go with you next so you can talk me through it. I haven't added them all because it takes away through them. But I'll add them as we go. Do you like to start your story?
Yeah, let me pull up my folder. That way I can tell you which image to pull up, and that would make things easier, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've uploaded the first 10.
Well, look, this shows creativity. I mean, this shows a very lack of.
I can try to go to. Actually, I go to the message.
Do you want us to put the movie poster up first?
Yeah, we can put the movie poster up first. That one will be the easiest one.
So this is.
So this is just a placeholder name.
Yeah, this is BBW, Big Bad Wolf concept, and this is his movie poster.
Oh yes, this is with William Dafoe and Nicolas Cage, right?
Yep, and also Nick Offerman, Henry Cavill, and Walker Scobell.
Okay, nice.
Many of you won't recognize Scobell because he's in the Disney Plus Percy Jackson series.
Actually, I do recognize him, but he looks surprisingly a little older for some reason. I guess
it could be how ChatGPT did it.
Yeah.
My idea was to get actors that have yet to be in a monster film that should be casted for a monster film, and then get a young up and coming actor.
All right.
Right, want to talk me through it, John?
Yeah. So this is going to take place in this. It'll be what we call the 16th century, so around the early to mid 1500s, where Spanish conquistadors were already going for their expedition to Aztec. Or at least within those Central South American countries where they're trying to do what they were doing to the Aztecs. And so here is our main cast of characters. So we have the captain, who's played by Willem Dafoe, the rookie played by Walker Scobell, our philosopher and cartographer played by Nicolas Cage, the priest played by Nick Offerman, and then our veteran played by Henry Cavill. And we're all just going to be discussing where they're going, what they're doing. We at least get a little bit of an insight what the crew wants to do. And so the captain just wants to travel the world. The veterans pretty much, wrong image, go back to that image, we're not there yet. But pretty much the captain wants to travel the world. Will also do what he can for the Spaniards. The veteran is pretty much just doing this for his family. Pretty much he's only in it just to get the money needed for the family. The philosopher is just there to see what the untold of untold truths are to discover of the world. So, like, he wants to discover things like hieroglyphics, new culture stuff like that. The priest, of course, is just there to help try to convert the Aztecs. Try to help convert them to their religion, which would have been, if I had to guess, people can correct me, but I think it would have been Catholicism. If I am correct. And then the rookie, he's just a young kid who was orphaned as a child trying to make his way into the world. So you could say this, being a part of this is pretty much his big break among the Spanish conquistadors. So you kind of get a moment to kind of get what the crew's all about, a little bit of their attitude and everything. But unfortunately, they get caught in a bad hurricane, typhoon-like storm, and they shipwreck with a lot of the crewmates end up being killed or injured, in which that's when they wash up on an unknown island.
Okay.
And so they wake up the next morning. Some of them are injured, some of them they're bruised, but they're fine. But they'll all discuss, like, what the heck are we? How far are we from this island? What can we do? And so though they're just trying to discuss what's going on, of course, the rookie not having any idea what's going on. So the veteran's kind of looking out for him in a way. It's almost like a drill sergeant, private kind of relationship. So he's going to be a bit brash with the rookie, but he's also got his best interest in mind. We're making sure the rookie doesn't do anything stupid. Whereas everyone's trying to gather the injured, try to count how much, who is all dead, who's alive, and eventually they gather what supplies they can. They move on. Now, I didn't have these pictures in here, but pretty much they go through a dense-like jungle. So first they go through this grassy clearing where you see the whole map of Skull Island. They hear this low growling roar that booms, but they have no idea where it's coming from or what it is. But what they know is it sounds like the island is already alive and aware of their presence. But so they go through this clearing into this grassy area, and then eventually they go through this thick rainforest-like jungle where they are being stalked by these predatory insectoid-like creatures. They have mixed appearances of praying mantises, beetles, wasps, and ants. And they eventually just all attack them at once, killing a couple of crewmates. They fight them off, but eventually they're like, hey, we need to get the heck out of here now. And so though they're trying to rush out of there because obviously they are outmatched with the weapons they have, well, they go through into another region, which is like it's literally a field of thorny vines, where a couple of them trip over and get impaled, one at the neck, one in the abdomen, but it hits the kidney or liver, and they bleed out and die. And so the veteran gets out his saber and cuts through it like you would in the jungle. Like you cut through those weeds in the jungle because it's so thick. And they eventually find this village, in which when they go down, they find this wooden village. They go through, and they could tell it's these ancient tribes. They can't tell the language, but they can tell it's some ancient tribe because of the language, but they can't tell what they're speaking. So the philosopher tries to see if he can figure it out, but he says, this language is unlike anything I've heard or read. I cannot translate for you. We are on our own on this one. And of course, the priest is over there trying to see if he can convert them. They're not interested. They literally stab into the Bible that he's holding, pretty much saying, hey, we don't know what this is, but we're not interested. And they walk up. The captain notices something. He notices the chief, but he notices there's some kind of artifact the chief is trying to hide because everyone else looks scared. And the chief he looks nervous but uncomposed. He's just like, whatever you do, don't do what you're about to do. So the captain goes to try to grab this artifact to take a look at it. And the chief grabs his hand like, hey, do not touch that. Do not take it. But then after that, the captain strikes him, and then chaos and this entire massacre ensues. A bunch of shooting happens. Arrows, spears are just flying all over the place. Bullets are shooting. Blood is being splattered. And eventually afterwards, they go and gather what supplies are at that village. They're like, well, let's just get what we can now. Because, of course, unfortunately, the conquistadors weren't exactly the best of people. If we know anything about a history, the conquistadors weren't exactly the most friendly. Especially when we know what they did to the Aztecs. And so they come into the chief's shack, in which I think it should be this next image, Kevin. when they're inside the chief shack.
I'm trying to upload what I can.
Okay.
They haven't downloaded in order.
Oh no. Well, we'll just play it by ear.
Okay, so play it by ear, but pretty much they kind of go into the chief shack where first they got the artifact in their hand. Well, the captain has it. They look at this tapestry that he kept, and it's like this entire map of Skull Island. So it shows different regions. So there's this Rocky Mountainous region. There's this. Then it shows this valley region, but it shows what these other pieces of this gemstone is found.
This one.
No, those would be cave paintings. That would be later on.
Okay. Oh,
But pretty much, they see like this gem they have now is the first piece of this gemstone that they have to put together. And so they're like, the captain goes, okay, gather what you can, let's get out. But before they do, they hear the same roar again, but except it's more thunderous, it's more furious, it's more angry and wrathful. And that's when the remaining villagers just drop to their knees. And nope, not that one. That's also later.
Wow.
But pretty much,
I'm liking this though.
They're in fear because they know the villagers know or I should say, the evil people know exactly who that is that's roaring. So they're all scared to death that they flee out that entire. So they literally get out the dodge of their own village camp.
Okay.
And then the captain, the main characters, and then the rest of the crew press on into these rocky highlands, as they call it. They travel up. It's very treacherous. I try to base that one off of 2005 King Kong, where you know that area to like if they took one wrong step, they would fall to their death because those rocks would crumble under them. So pretty much, it's that same concept where you want to be careful where you're walking. One wrong step and you're going to go downhill. And so pretty much that exactly is what happened. A couple of crewmates literally fall to their death. They all scatter, but they manage to run up to safer ground. But unfortunately, the commotion attracts attention to some bird-like creatures, very fiendish, looks like vultures, pteranodons, and bats. A mixed combination of pteranodons, vultures, and bats. And they all go after them, killing a couple of more crewmates. Then, when that's happening, a giant ape-like hand comes out of nowhere and grabs another crewmate. Yep, that one.
Okay.
It grabs them out of nowhere, and so that spooks them because they're seeing something so gigantic that they've never seen before. But also, Kong, you don't know who it is because we all know it's Kong. But I want to keep his design ambiguous to the viewer for the time being. So at first, you're just seeing the hand, and then at one point, Kong is charging after him. But again, all you see is his hands and his feet, and everything else is like shrouded in clouds and mist and shadow. So they're running, and eventually they slide down the mountain into this mire bog-like area where they take a quick rest for a little bit and assess what's going on. And at one point, they're all discussing. The priest the rookie kind of acts like, what the heck is going on here? Where are we? And the priest goes, no, the veteran says something like, this could be hell for us. And the priest is like, for the amount of stuff that we have done, this would be hell. And the philosopher will say something that's like fairly cryptic, but also on the vines of, we have literally created our own folly the moment we've done the things that we've done. Again, showing that even though we may like these characters, they may seem honorable, they're not good people. Like on paper, they may seem like good people, but deep down, they're not good people. And at one point, as they're assessing, I'm going to call it a Maya Serper comes out of nowhere and grabs another crewmate. And this creature has the mixed appearance of a moray eel and a snakehead. Kind of grabs him, takes him under, and so they literally have to scramble again because like we gotta get out of here because there could be something else in this water as well. Whereas two crewmates die by sinking into the toxic quicksand of that bog. They eventually make it out into this clearing that looks like a mountainous region, like kind of like the forests of Canada, Alaska, even Yellowstone, where they finally go for a rest, where they're assessing again. about what they're going to do when they get off this island, how they're going to get out, which they discuss on the map. There's a certain path they can take, and it leads them to a boat that they can row and get out of the island and back to wherever they got to go. But as they're resting and doing that, these Gormhounds, these fiendish, lupine-looking, dog-like monsters come out of nowhere and just attack the camp. They kill a lot of the crewmates, and eventually, unfortunately, the rookie's kind of left as a sitting duck. And
is that the one? Is that the thing that looks like a bear?
No, not a bear. The bear comes a little bit after that. But pretty much, the priest decides a shepherd must tend to the flock, and so he gets the rookie and pushes him out of there, and he sacrifices himself to buy the rookie time to escape, and that's when we see the end of the priest. So they escape, they go into this cave, where we come across those cave paintings, where it shows them everything. It shows them like Kong, some creatures, another map of Skull Island, even a little bit more of what this gemstone is, where they happen to find another gemstone, and they put them together, and it creates a very loud humming sound. But unfortunately, that humming sound happened to unbeknownst to them, there's something else also in the cave, and that humming woke up something in hibernation. And that would be the bear that has a skull. Yep, it wakes up a bear that his name is Erskine, but another moniker is the Skull Bear. Wakes him up, he's pissed off. He goes on a rampage, because of course one thing everybody always knows is you don't want to wake up a sleeping bear, and you don't want to be caught in a cave with a bear. And so they're running, the bear kills 3 more men, tramples 2, grabs one in his mouth and bites him in half.
Yeah.
They run out. As they do, Kong shows up just waiting for them. And so
is this when you first get to see Kong?
No, it's still left ambiguous, but you see a little bit of his design. Because it's going to be like a silhouette in the dark. And so Kong and the bear kind of square up to each other. And so in the commotion, they escape. They're like, let's get out of here. These two are focused on each other. So we get the first fight scene between Kong and the bear, in which it starts when Kong jumps in, gives the bear a punch. The bear reacts with a bite to his shoulder, slams him to the ground a bit, then kind of uses his weight to kind of push him down. A couple of paw swipes, Kong kicks him off, grabs like a boulder, smashes the bear in the face. The bear slaps Kong in the face and then also slams him to the ground. This happens for a bit. Then finally, Kong and the bear tackle each other. They go down a hill, get covered in debris, cause a landslide, they get covered in debris, they burst out, the bear goes back to his cave, Kong continues his pursuit. On that time, we see the captain starting to go a little mad, because we see the desperation of survival, the lack of sleep, no eating or drinking, and now this, what could be an priceless artifact to bring back, is driving him more crazed. And the crew is trying to calm him down, especially the philosopher, the veteran and the rookie, because at one point he almost snaps at the rookie, but the veteran stops him. Wrong thing, that's later, but pretty much.
Well, I don't know, John. I'm just putting things
Oh no,
out.
I'm just letting everyone know it's not the right scene, but that comes later. But as they do that, dawn is starting. Is dusk nighttime or morning time?
Night.
Okay, thank you. So dawn is starting to hit. They see this valley that looks like an area that time forgot. It's like an area where it's full of dinosaurs. So like the last defining place where dinosaurs could be, but these dinosaurs look like hyper-evolved versions of dinosaurs we know today. And so at one point, they're walking down, they see this kind of stampede of herbivores just running by them. And they're wondering what the heck is going on. In the commotion, they actually get caught in a hunting party of these fiend raptor-like creatures that, unfortunately, it's a case of wrong place, wrong time. These raptors pounce out of nowhere and rip a few more crew members apart, with 2 of them being injured. And so they run by, and they happen to come across a hyper-evolved version of Triceratops and Ankylosaur fighting each other. And when that happens, we enter this deathless Carnotaurus monster that I'm going to call Diablo. So it's like this giant red dinosaur that looks like a Carnotaurus with a mace at the end of his tail. That would be him. He shows up. He comes in, uses his horns to flip the ankylosaur on its back, while using the tail to whack the Triceratops in the head. He rips the ankylosaur open and bites the Ceratops in the neck, but before he begins to eat, he notices the crew members and focuses his attention on them. So he manages to go after the only injured ones left. And so he stomps one and gets the other in his mouth. The Venom decides he has to try to save them because, in a way, those are like his men. But before he does, we get like an emotional scene where him and the rookie, where he hands the rookie his flintlock pistol, pretty much saying, "Use this wisely. It's in your hands now." So this is where we see Henry Cavill get killed and eaten by this Carnotaurus monster. And then as that happens, the Carnotaurus runs after them. Then that's when we see Kong come in, and we see more of Kong's design, but not fall through. We see one of his eyes, his forearms, and his legs, and they're just squaring off with each other. Which that one, the Carnotaurus comes in, slashes Kong across the chest with his horns. Kong gives him a punch. The Carnotaurus bites him and holds him down. Kong drop kicks him off. Grabs a rock, he gets a rock, jabs him in his eye, and then he gets a huge tree and smacks him in the face with it. The Carnotaurus then again uses his arm, slaps him across the face, whacks him with his tail. Kong punches him again, and eventually, after he drop kicks him back, the Carnotaurus comes in for another gore. This is where we see Kong use his brain. He gets him in the headlock and uses the momentum against him to do a suplex. And they go down another rocky hill where they get covered in debris. They burst out of the ground. The Carnotaurus goes back to where he needs to be, and Kong continues his pursuit. Then that's when we see them going to the lava fields, our characters, and the captain of Willem Dafoe gets the final piece of that gemstone. And we see him look even more madder than usual, like he's literally being driven insane, like Smeagol when he gets the ring.
My precious.
Right?
So we see him, he's happy, they're getting ready to complete this puzzle and find out the secrets to this island. They find this ancient temple that looks a lot like what you would see in Indian forests or jungles. They walk up into the temple, they see a bunch of hieroglyphics, a bunch of stories, a bunch of more tapestries and arts and prophecies, and they see this door and a slot where you would put the completed artifact in. And so they complete it with all the pieces together that forms an ancient arrowhead. They place it in, and the door begins to slide down. As it's doing that, the temple is literally crumbling. It's shaking. And they're wondering what's going on. They're waiting for this reveal. And then before it could finish, Kong comes in and bursts through that temple, breaking it down. Because Kong knows exactly what's going to happen if that completes. And so once Kong bursts through, we see a silhouette, but even more of his design. And so they run for it because like we gotta get out of here now because that big monkey's gonna kill us. Unfortunately, the philosopher played by Nicolas Cage gets injured by debris. He gets an injury to his leg and to his side, and so he's unable to make it as far. They get into this dense forest similar to an Indian forest. And again, the captain's going more and more feral as he gets more desperate for survival. And he's mad that they lost the artifact. And little do they know, they're being stalked by lion-like reptiles that are very fiendish and devilish looking. But they are in active camouflage, so all you see is what the viewers see is flickering eyes. But then eventually they come out and reveal themselves, and it shows they're completely surrounded. The captain has the rookie make a run for it as he seemingly goes to help the philosopher, but instead he gives him one look, but you can see the look in desperation. He wants to survive, and so the philosopher's dead weight. He drops the philosopher, but before he leaves him, the philosopher has that look on his face of disappointment and realization and acceptance, as he literally has that look that says, "So this is what you've become." And as the captain leaves them, we see the philosopher pretty much get pounced and eaten alive by these fiendish lion-like reptiles. They get to a clearing where they're near the coast. The captain meets the rookie. We see this canoe that's on the map. They're getting close to home. But the rookie's looking at him like, what happened to the wondering what happened to the philosopher, and he tries to make him believe that he tried to save him, but you can tell in the rookie's face, he's like, bullcrap. He can tell he did not try to save him. And so they get into an altercation where the captain blames the rookie. He goes, I didn't kill him. Mercy killed him. I just decided to put him out of his misery or something. And so eventually you get this clash of philosophies between the two. They get into a scuffle. The captain is obviously stronger and more experienced, so he's taking control of the rookie, punching the crap out of him, beating him down. He's getting ready to kill the rookie, but the rookie manages to outsmart the captain in nick of time, gets out that pistol the veteran gave him, and shoots the captain and kills him. And so the captain's dead. The rookie's very happy because now he gets that relief, but he's sad because everyone's dead. Because, it's that realization that you're the last one left. And so the rookie finally makes it down to the coast, or should I say to the Bay Area where the boat is. He gets into the boat and rows off where it's foggy, the sun is being engulfed by the fog, but he has this look on his face like, I'm finally going to get back to civilization. I'm going to see my family. I'm going to see what family I have again. Hopefully I'll get promoted for this because he's young. He's got a whole life ahead of him. Then we see a shadow kind of loom over the rookie. And then out of nowhere, he gets snatched by Kong. And then what the viewer will see is a hollowed eye of Kong's left hollowed eye, empty. And the rookie's just staring into it. Because the idea is that it's the imagery of you staring to the abyss and the abyss stares right back into you. The rookie thinks about getting out his pistol and trying to shoot Kong, but he realizes in his mind it's pointless. And you get that realization that, oh crap, that realization of I am not making it out of here. And Kong just, here's that image of the rookie looking right at him, and Kong literally just crushes him and rips him in half.
Oh, wow.
And then finally, we finally get to see Kong in his full glory where he pounds his chest and then puts his arms down like a gorilla and roars. But this isn't a roar of victory for Kong. This is a roar that serves as a warning of don't come near Skull Island. But there's another image of Kong too I'm hoping you can find, Kevin, because I want to show that there it is. My idea for Kong's design is to tell a story without telling a story. Because we see this Kong has been through a lot of ordeals and battles. Especially because if you look at him, he not only has slash scars, bite scars, and blunt scars, but he has burn scars all over his body. Because I want to show this Kong has been through a lot of stuff. He's young, but he's experienced. Like, he's been through some crazy crap over the years. And my idea was to show, because I always wondered, for something as experienced as Kong, I feel like he should be missing a couple of fingers and maybe even missing an eye, having a lot of scars over his body. And then after the roar, we cut to the canoe that the rookie was in, and there was a bottle in that canoe. And in that bottle is journal entries from the rookie, the veteran, and the philosopher. And the story cuts to black, and then we get a post-credit scene. That post-credit scene is that crumpled temple, but that loud humming sound still going with the ground shaking. And we hear kind of like an eerie shrill. And then we cut back to the cave scene. Because then it cuts to the same cave scene in the movie where they're all looking at this cave, all the cave paintings. They're seeing Kong, they're seeing Diablo, they're seeing Earthscorn, they're seeing the hieroglyphics, the gemstone, but then there's that one part that we see where they're like, what the heck is that? But you don't see that on screen, but you're seeing the reaction. This happens right before the bear wakes up. They're like, what the heck is that? And the philosopher goes, whatever it is, they obviously didn't want that. They obviously don't want to wake it up, or they don't want that thing being released. And we finally cut to that cave painting of this fiendish creature. We see it. Yep. And as we see it, you hear this loud, hellacious, guttural shriek, and the movie just cuts.
So that would lead to a sequel where he's clearly going to fight what looks like the Kraken.
And I have to ask this question, John. With this story, is it because the way it's so dark? Like, is it PG-13 or R?
I would like for it to be PG-13, but more than likely the studios will want to be kept PG-13.
No, this sounds like an action horror movie.
Yeah,
that was my idea. I
Even-
wanted to depict
Because
more.
even your design of Kong's not kid friendly.
no.
Yeah, my idea for Kong was I wanted a version of Kong that looks very battle hardened. Like even though he's young, he's very battle hardened. Like he's seen and been through a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely not the type to be friendly to outsiders if they come on the island.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
But credits to Matt. I gotta give Matt credit. He's the one that gave me the idea to add a bear to the mix. Originally,
You know,
it was just going to
the
be the
vibe I'm
dinosaur.
it's like it's given me a vibe. It's like a dark horror version of like say Congo meets Indiana Jones meets Peter Jackson's Kong, where they go to the island, but obviously it's not as friendly as that island. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
My idea was I wanted to keep
or like
shooting.
things that you would see in your nightmares type thing.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
idea was I wanted to do what Peter Jackson did and show not only will the wildlife on the island kill you, but the environment itself will kill you. That's why I
Yeah.
always prefer his version of Skull Island more than Monsterverse, because Peter Jackson's Skull Island literally showed it's not the wildlife you have to worry about, it's your location on the island you have to worry about.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to depict more here. It's not just not just the living organisms on the island that are capable, but it's environment itself that could literally kill you if you take the wrong step.
I think the thing what they did with the Monsterverse, they wanted it to be a fantasy like giant kaiju for them, but they also wanted it to make it feel and have that Vietnam feel, like the Vietnam movies. And for me, it did have the Vietnam feel.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what made the film also very widely received. There's so many people that are history buffs. One more that many people like revisiting when it comes to video games or even movies. If it isn't World War II, it's Vietnam.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
isn't it? I just want to point this out real quick. Isn't it kind of funny that Skull Island, even though it is a PG-13 rating, some of the visuals are a little bit hindering close to very more graphic than you would think in a PG. But that's kind of how it was back in the early 80s, because when the PG-13 rating came out, it was like kind of a balance. But I mean, sometimes they kind of pushed it, but it's like that's why I'm saying when I'm seeing the visuals here, it's like I was like, is that PG-13 or is that R? Because it's pushing it with it.
I would say this: it'll be PG-13. It'll be PG-13 going as far as it can before it hits that threshold of rated R.
Yeah.
Because we have seen some films that are PG-13 that push the threshold as far as it can. And that's what I want to do, because more than likely, if I were to make this film with the studio, they would want to be PG-13 so families could still bring their kids. Because unfortunately, that's how families are.
True.
Because unfortunately, that's what brings box office numbers.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so what do you guys think overall?
I thought it's good. It's very dark, but I think we haven't had a dark Kong movie, so
Yeah.
we need
I really do.
something different.
Yeah.
Something unique.
Yeah, my idea was there are a few Kong movies that are pretty dark, but they don't push it. My idea was to push it because we've seen Godzilla, and there have been 3 or 4 movies where we see Godzilla in the light of horror. But we haven't seen one with Kong in that light.
It's true.
So my idea was to finally have a film where we have Kong being seen in the aspect of horror.
Yeah.
Very
I really
true.
do like how in depth you have gone with this take on King Kong, John, especially with all of the visuals, and I really do like your choice of casting. So I think William Dafoe, I would actually be convinced of him as the captain if this were an actual movie, and I do like the idea of using a priest character in there, because if you've seen the remake of Conan Doyle's The Lost World in 2001, there's an interesting addition where they have a priest stationed in the Amazon on a holy mission, and he tries to kill the Challenger expedition by cutting off their only way off the plateau in the film. But this take here, really reminiscent of the times, which is accurate to history and a really good direction, I think.
Thank you. So, fun fact: originally, my idea was Willem Dafoe was going to be the priest, and Sean Bean was going to be the captain. But I decided no. With what's going on with the captain, Willem Dafoe would be better, especially for the films I've seen with him, like The Lighthouse. I figured it'd be perfect for him. I figured the captain role would be perfect for him.
Well, wait till you get to my story.
And then Nick Offerman, I'm like, you know what? I can see him as a priest character, which I chose him to take Defoe's place as the priest.
Yes. Next up, my good friend, the Professor Daniel Miller.
Okay, so what we have here, it's a very different take in terms of a film production. It's actually a documentary series. So for context, I want you to cast your minds back to the very end of the 90s when Impossible Pictures was commissioned to do a documentary series called Walking with Dinosaurs.
Yes.
Okay. Then in 2001, then in 2001 they followed up with Walking with Beasts. And recently I've been able to watch the director's cut of Peter Jackson's King Kong, and then learning about the in-universe expanded story of that version of King Kong, I wondered, okay, what if we did a sort of prequel, but focusing on the ancestors of Megaprematus Kong on Skull Island? So I've come up with the idea tonight for this stream, actually, called Walking with Kong. Now, I do have a very rough concept sketch that I added in earlier. I have it here. Don't know if it will show well on camera, but here it is.
Ah.
I see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks. So the idea is that we start a few million years. There we are. That's it. So we start a couple million years ago with the ancestors of Megaprematus Kong very early on in their evolution in mainland Indonesia, which in the canon of Peter Jackson's King Kong, Skull Island is in and around the Indian Ocean, the Indonesian Sea. So we see this troop of gorillas immigrate to Skull Island before it's broken off from the mainland because it's on a fault line. And we see from their perspective that where they've gone, because their original homeland is changed drastically due to the climate crisis that followed in the Eocene after the death of the dinosaurs. There's a bit of a history lesson here. After the meteorite strike, there was rainforests all around the world until we get to the late Eocene. The climate starts to get cooler and drier, and the continents start breaking up even further. So this is roughly around when mankind's origins began directly with the Australopithecus forensis over in Africa, when they started to walk upright as opposed to squatting on all fours. So these giant primates, they've gone onto what will eventually become Skull Island as we see it in Peter Jackson's film. But we see from their perspective that this environment is different. It's older, it's out of place. And then they come across the flora and fauna of Skull Island. They see the herd of brontosaurs just wandering through a cavern in the forest opening. Then one of the youngest actually gets set upon by a pack of venatosaurs, which are the big raptorids of Skull Island. We then see, as time passes, the island starts to break away from the mainland. Some of the Kongs are killed in the initial tremor, whether they get crushed by debris from a falling mountain or they fall into a crevasse, which would be in the very depths of the island, where those big insects and carnictus are lurking in that pit in the movie. So we then skip to 500,000 years later. These primates have shrugged off their beginnings, and they're starting to look more like the Megaprimatus Kong in that version of the film. So there's a bit of a montage of early humans on Skull Island living in the shadows of these primates, but they're developing at a much faster rate. Meanwhile, you have the Megaprimatus Kong's numbers not only dwindling, but some specimens actually growing stronger physically because of their forced adaptation to Skull Island's ecosystem. But we also see a bit of the war with the V-Rexes and the Kong species. And we actually see, and this is something that is alluded to, but it's never made explicitly clear. Because the Kong species weren't indigenous to Skull Island, they immigrated before it broke off from mainland Indonesia. They were actually vulnerable to tiny parasites and diseases that the dinosaurs have long since adapted to and evolved a resilience against. So some of the Megaprimatus Kongs fell victim to these diseases and ultimately perished. If it wasn't the diseases, it was the V-Rexes that were killing off the Kong troops. Another 1,000,000 years later, now we're in the thousands. This is during the Ice Age. The rest of the world is freezing over, yet Skull Island, it's still warm, it's still tropical, and there is a huge number of life, living organisms on this island as it's broken away from the mainland. We then see, as the Kongs, what's left of them, have established this their own home near the island's interior, we then see the humans making their own settlements in the mountain areas near the highest peaks of the island, where if you look at the film carefully, you'd see that throughout the island, beyond the wall, there are fragments of a civilization, stone ruins, scattered throughout the island, especially near the peaks where Kong makes his home. So looking at that history, we can see, okay, there are primates on the island, but there's also this civilization that's established itself in the heart of the island. Now we skip to at least post-Ice Age, say 15,000 years BC. The tectonic instability on Skull Island takes its toll as the wall surrounding this necropolis in the center starts to break as the rest of the island falls into the sea. The wall gives way, the dinosaurs, the monsters, the things that would kill the humans gets into the inner sanctum of the city, because we focus, just as this happens, we focus on the imbalance of the predator to prey ratio. There are more carnivores than there are herbivores on the island, so already there's this ecosystem that's literally on the verge of collapse. And that's when we actually look at the flora and fauna, because if you look at the dinosaurs, particularly the carnivores, most notably the V-Rexes, most of them have a lot of defects, like teeth are all crooked, some of them are misaligned. And if you look at the raptors as well, it's the same thing going on. And after doing some research, this is the result of a genetic bottleneck on the island. So it's not just the carnivores, it's all of the other animals that have, for a choice, that have quite simply become incestuous just to survive for continuing their species. So while this is going on, the earthquake continues to erode the island is sinking, the walls have collapsed, the dinosaurs now have gone into the city, and all but a small handful of humans have been wiped out. Now we see the Kongs. There's at least 8 or 10 of them left at this point, and they've been struck with disease, they're struck with loss of food, even though they are omnivorous, but they do require a lot of carrion. But they've been hunted relentlessly by the V-Rexes to the point where they can't keep them in line anymore. So they were a natural buffer for keeping the life cycle, at least the big carnivores and the big animals, in check until the earthquakes got worse. So now we skip forward to specifically 1915. This was when Kong actually becomes the last of his kind, when the last of his troop has perished right in front of his eyes. He is alone, and we see him just in pure grief, rage, and loneliness just decimate a pack of 5 V-Rexes that were trying to feed on him, but also the corpse of his sibling who just perished. So he, although he gets messed up in the fight, like he's scarred, he has bits of flesh bitten out of him, he actually manages to hold them off, fights them off. And that's when one of the tribespeople that's just foraging for food realizes this. And it's from there, the last surviving humans in whatever bit of the island they have left behind what remains of the old wall, they then start to revere Kong as this god, and they practice sacrificial rituals to appease this god. Now, the final chapter, it's 1933. We see Kong and Anne's interaction. This is when the crew of the SS Venture lands on Skull Island with Carl Denham and co. We don't focus so much on the human action, but rather on Kong's interaction with Anne. And the finale of this is that we see Kong and Anne sitting at the very peak of the island, looking off into the sunset. But then we pull back to the mouth of the cave entrance where we see one of the Kong skulls. Then we fade to black. Then there's this archival photograph from 1935, because at this point they've been at sea for at least 2 years. So it's 1935. Kong is dead in the streets of New York after the fighting the airplanes at the top of the Empire State Building. And then we have a closing narration with Megapromatus' Kong's extinction resulted in the combination of nature's wrath and the weaponry of modern man. If Skull Island's existence can tell us anything, it is this: no species lasts forever. And keeping in tradition with the Skull Island documentary that was included in the DVD release, namely the second disc in the DVD set, it's explained that the remains of Kong have been concealed in a top secret location by the Museum of Natural History, and all requests to see and document them from outside have been repeatedly denied. And on top of that, you have fragments, whether it be photographs, bits of film reel, and even handwritten expedition notes of expeditions post 1935 up until 1942 of other expeditions going to Skull Island before it eventually vanished due to the geological instability when a 9.2 earthquake proved to be the last straw, and the entire island just crashed into the ocean. Everything from the last dinosaurs, the last humans, the super flora and fauna just wiped out after millions and millions of years of of isolated existence, just gone just gone. Not even halfway through a century.
Mm.
I kind of like how it's how you made it into like a documentary.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it feels episodic, so you would see the life of the beginning to the life of the end.
Like it's pretty
Kong.
interesting.
So you
Okay.
see like the tragedy unfold.
Yeah.
But I think you would make a lot of children cry, Daniel.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's reality one day.
Here's how I see about it. Parents, you don't have to take them to the theater to watch it. That's your decision, parents.
But I do like the fact that you actually do a backtrack of those times, because that's the thing. We don't have we have some physical records of what lived on the planet eons ago, but we don't have a definite knowing of what they were doing or interacting and all these things. But you could kind of speculate these things, and that's kind of good that you took Kong's origins and kind of made it somewhere. It's like, okay, you got an idea that he is like at this point in time. And it's like, say, it's set, and it's like, say, it goes up to when he was originally released in theater, in cinema, and knowing that he had a backstory that's very interesting, but at the same time, it's very sad because eventually his life cycle would come to an end, and that's a heartfelt note.
I like how it's like a history of the species of the Kongs.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
not just about Kong himself, it's showing you right from the beginning of where the species first formed to the final of the extinction of the entire species. Which is sad
Yeah.
in one way, but it's nice. It's a way to like say that it's nature as well, and it's showing you the life cycle of this species.
That's right. I was trying to follow the episodic structure of Walking with Dinosaurs and Walking with Beasts, but I was focusing more of a story-driven narrative through a documentary lens. So we begin with the Kong's ancestors, and then with each episode we follow them. We're also exploring the grander canvas of Skull Island. We're also keeping an emotional core in there because Kong, unlike Godzilla or any other movie monster, he's a very sympathetic one because he's simian. He's a humanoid. He's relatable because he's expressive. He conveys emotion. So I'm thinking that
Well, he's the most relatable to humans, isn't he? So
yeah,
he's a primate, and in all essence, he's a primate.
and his relationship with Anne Darrow as well further solidifies that. So by having that as the finale of the series, actually plays into that in a greater extent.
Okay. That's that. Look, I got no words. I mean, yeah, exactly. Kudos. I like that.
It's well
And
put
I would
together.
look. If I'm gonna be honest with you, Daniel, that if was to come into play in terms of visual, you know, simplicity, I would love you to narrate it.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
Oh,
that's
hell yeah.
brilliant.
I would love to. I would love to.
Be the next Morgan Freeman.
There you go. See.
Or David Attenborough.
But here, the Mega Promoter's Kong is under constant threat from the true king of Skull Island, the Statosaurus Rex.
Oh, definitely. Well, with that said, you've done a fantastic job, Daniel, and I generally think that it would be better, even though this is the fantasy filmmaking series. I think that would be better as, like, say, an 8-part fictional documentary series for television. Yeah. So now it's, I guess, my turn.
It's your turn.
So here we go. So my Kong fantasy film is none other than
Oh.
During the
Kong
war.
1942. That is
Oh, hey,
correct.
William Defoe is back.
Right. That's
Yes,
what I'm
but some fucker stole my idea. I don't know who.
saying.
I feel like I knew you were going to choose Willem Dafoe as well.
But anyway, you have a newly recruited soldier who's about to begin his first, his first service in the British Army. And his name is none other than Jack Miller,
Oh, wow.
played by Taron Egerton from Kingsman.
Yes.
So he is from Kingsman, and he is signed on to the British Army. And of course, we're in the middle of World War II. And then we have, as the Prime Minister, we have Anthony Hopkins as Winston Churchill.
Okay.
So Winston Churchill has found word through a spy that the Germans are planning to strike from north of England. So basically going to come down and head down to Scotland and try to invade Scotland and make their way down with their huge array of German warboats. And it's going to be called Operation Takeover. But obviously it's pronounced in German. So he's found wind of this, but at the same time he's also discovered that there is a small German boat that is heading off to another part of the UK near Stormway, which is at the top of the country near Scotland. And there's a barrier, there's like this constant storm barrier just off the coast of Scotland, right at the top. And this storm barrier basically is hiding an island that's never been explored. And this German boat that is going to this island, while obviously this operation takeover is being planned, is being, captained by General Blankenberg, who's none other than William Dafoe.
Oh.
So William Dafoe, he is on his way to break through this barrier to suddenly discover the secret, because he can sense some sort of energy or power source from this island. So as that's going on, the crew of another missionary ship that is being hunted by different generals from the British Army. Obviously, Jack Miller has been chosen to be a part of the crew and is a part of the team. They then have to recruit an on-board nurse for the injuries of any person that will sustain an injury during this mission. So they hire the nurse, who is Nora Whitehall, who was played by Emma Watson.
Money. Okay.
Yes. So suddenly they are heading out into the storm, and they do catch up to the German boat, and there's an in-water battle between both boats. Because of the current in the waves of this massive storm, both boats, are basically smashed against the rocks and smashed about everywhere else. And they both end up at different parts of the island. And as the dust clears and as the storm breaks, Emma Watson's character Nora sees through the clouds an island.
Oh, wow.
So she comes across the first remnants of Skull Island.
That's beautiful.
So she ends up going to the island, but as she's looking up at the island, something is looking down at this new arrival, something that nobody has ever seen.
Huh.
So suddenly, there is an image of Kong who you can only see his silhouette who is looking down at this boat. And he's looking down at this boat and he kind of jumps off the cliff and disappears in the screenshot. The next image you see from this moment is the German soldiers have now started unpacking this equipment, and there is a German scientist who has now joined the general on the shore, and they're looking for this power source. And the power source, the Duke found it in a cave, and it's like a radiated crystal. And this radiated crystal they take and they decide they're going to amplify it and use it to help them with an experiment. And so what this experiment is comes into later on in the film. In the meantime, you've then got the British soldiers on the other side of the island that begin to explore. But as they're exploring the island, they come across something that they did not expect. Super fauna. They come across giant animals. So just like in the Monsterverse, they come across this deer that is gigantic with these beautiful moss growing from its head. They come across a giant crab, but they manage to avoid it. And then the worst thing possible is suddenly there are members of the team that suddenly start to disappear. It's like something's pulling them away, something's dragging them away, and nobody knows what it is. And next thing you know, something comes into view, and it is a giant kimono dragon. And the kimono dragon decides to attack the team, but because it attacked the team and Emma Watson's character, Nora, is separated, she runs away, and when she runs away, the largest of the pack of giant dragons goes chasing after her. And she's trapped. And when she's trapped, she starts to scream, and then suddenly you can hear a rumble coming through the forest, through the trees. You can see her snaps, and trees falling. And the next thing you know, a giant shadows hovering over her. As the shadows hovering over her, the kimono dragon gives out a large roar. And when this large roar happens, this thing jumps out in front of her and begins to protect her. And the thing that's decided to protect her is no other than Kong himself.
Oh wow! Okay.
So Kong.
You actually animated it. Okay.
So Kong comes out of the forest and he saves her from being totally devoured from the Kong. She is completely in shock at the size of this giant creature, because obviously she won't even know what a monkey is. She's probably heard of monkeys or apes or gorillas, but she's never set her sights on one. So now she has this larger than life creature standing in front of her that she never thought in a million years she would see.
Okay, now I get understand this visual now. I get it now.
So now this is happened. She's in complete awe, but then something else begins to happen. Because then Jack Miller comes across her with this ape standing in front of her. But by this time, the boat is unloaded a British Army tank. And all they see, they've been attacked by these manic creatures. So Jack Miller just decides to order the tank to go after Kong, which was a big mistake because now Kong is in complete and utter rage. He has no choice but to lose his temper and defend himself, which he does.
He's like, "Here I come!"
He literally takes out the tank in one go. But as the army men are about to shoot on him, Nora screams for them to stop, and he suddenly stops and calms down. Jack Miller then realizes for some reason Kong and Miller have a connection. Sorry, Kong and Nora have got a connection. So as this is happening on the other side of the island, there is a device being built by the German scientist, which William Defoe, using this rock with this kind of radiation has. And it's an old experiment that they tried before that failed miserably. But now they've decided to try and get the experiment to work again. So this is the device that they created. So
Okay.
the old hypnosis device. So then once they upload this crystal or this rock with the energy source in, it starts to power it. And as you can see, they use it on one of the giant Komodo dragons.
I don't know why, but it looked like something out of the first Hellboy for some reason. I don't know
Yes.
why?
I was thinking of Austin Powers because of the machine, the time machine.
Okay, I can see that too. Yeah, yeah.
So there it is lit up, and then they use it, and then their camp was also being attacked. Suddenly was surrounding them with these giant Komodo dragons. But to save themselves, they then switched the machine on in one of the head of the Komodo dragons, which was the largest of the pack. Approached this device because the curious animal then looked blank into the device, and the device hypnotizes it. So then the scientist, and now William Defoe's character, Blankenstock, are now in control of an army of Komodo dragons. With that said, what he does is he then radios through and has managed to get through to the Germans on the other side of the barrier of this island. So what he tells them in German, which we don't understand, he only says one word in English. Let's distraction. Let's distraction, he says. So as we know, we have the other operation that the Germans want to put against the British by, Operation Takeover, which they plan on invading the top of Scotland. Suddenly, the German boat is now loaded and begins to leave. But as it leaves on the cliff top, all the British soldiers see the ship leaving with a hold of these giant reptilian creatures at the back, just sitting there. This is when Jack Miller realizes there's no way we can take these on and stop the Operation Takeover. We're gonna need help. And by using Nora, he's able to lure Kong onto the boat. Because she's the only thing that can soothe his rage. And so Kong arrives on the boat. It just falls.
He's sleeping.
So he arrives on the boat and falls asleep.
The newspaper.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So as this is happening, they get closer to getting through the barrier, which they've got to stop the other boat. But as they're heading towards the barrier, in the distance, they see the Germans boat, and it's like a race who can get through the barrier first. And as that's happening, they're neck to neck. And there's a massive water battle scene where Kong even leaps from the British boat onto the German boat and has a bit of a scuffle with the Komodo dragon, but he ends up falling off and having to swim back to the British boat. But because he fell off the boat, it actually allowed the boat to get ahead of the German one, and he literally hangs onto the back of it as it sweeps through the barrier. Because of this, the boat heads to London. And they're preparing because they know there's only two options. They cannot stop Operation Takeover, but they can protect London. And they realise why they need to go to London is because the general has decided that's where he's going to go. He's going to attack London, trying to kill as many people with this army of lizards. Because And if he does that and kills many people, and potentially the Prime Minister, they've got an advantage over Britain.
Wow.
So he plans to go to London and attack Britain with this army of giant reptiles. So Kong goes, but when he arrives, the Prime Minister is outraged that they've brought this creature, and he decides to have Kong locked up, caged. So he locks Kong up in a cage, and they don't believe the Prime Minister. Just thinks it's too, fantasy. He says they're talking fantasy about the Germans and these creatures, and do not believe a word you are telling me. So because he doesn't believe it, he locks Kong up, and because he locks Kong up, he's unprepared for the arrival of the German, which is the biggest mistake he could have made. Because next thing you know, they invade London.
Oh no!
And there's about 6 of these giant kimonos in London, and as you can see, they start wrecking everything in sight.
Hey, they attacked the underground. No.
Yes, they attack anything with a pulse. Doesn't
Big
stand
Ben's
a
gone.
chance. Big Ben is gone.
Yeah.
So literally.
Oh wow.
Anything that
this is nice.
becomes a target.
Yeah.
Big Ben is now a nesting ground.
This is when the Prime Minister now totally regrets not allowing Kong to remain in London. So he gives the permission to have Kong released from his shackles.
Wow.
But he's sitting there and he cannot be asked to get up because he's pissed off because he's been in shackles. So he's like, fuck you, just get
It's like, I don't give a damn about you.
But this is when Nora comes in, because as Jack Miller, as you've seen, is in the middle of London trying to fight these lizards, Nora goes to Kong and convinces him to follow her. So as he follows her, he makes his way to Parliament in Big Ben, where he sees one of the larger of the creatures, and he's suddenly filled with rage when one of them goes to attack Nora. And so he says, this is it. I have to defend Nora. And he chases up the top of Big Ben, and then the fight is on. He literally fights the kimono dragon from the top of Big Ben and delivers everything he can do.
Wow.
This is when Jack discovers the German team. And when the German boat is hiding, he sees the device that's spinning. So him and the remainder of the army soldiers decide to go and do an operation to get on board this boat, to then destroy the boat or destroy the device. And if they switch the device off, it'll turn, the creatures might change, or they might at least be that confused it'll give Kong enough time to take them on. So that's exactly what they do. They board the boat, but then unknown to them, the largest of all of the Komodo dragons is hiding, because William Dafoe's character, the general, is keeping it basically to protect them. And so what they end up doing is Winston Churchill arrives in his car and he gets inside of a Jeep and he decides to drive the Jeep towards the giant Komodo. And it sees him, and it's so irate because I just think it doesn't like the colour red, to be fair. It doesn't like the colour red. And it starts chasing Winston Churchill around London in the Jeep.
Oh, wow.
So as that's happening, it distracts William Dafoe's character. Jack Miller is able to destroy the machine, and he throws this toxic rock deep into the British waters. As this happens, Winston Churchill crashes his Jeep and manages to hide behind in a warehouse. Unknown to the general played by William Dafoe, he doesn't see that now the Komodo dragons now no longer under his control. Because of this, he starts shouting at the dragon to do his bidding, and it's not doing a damn thing. So then it starts he realizes it's no longer under his control. He's then chased and eaten by the leader of the Komodo dragons.
Yummy.
It's like you're mine.
The time this has happened, Kong has defeated the other 5 of the Komodo dragons. And this is when the final battle happened, because the largest of the Komodo dragons finally turns up to London and begins to fight Kong. And Kong, it's a tough battle. It's touching, who's going to survive, who's going to die.
Right.
But Kong, he gets bitten about 3 or 4 times, but he's managed to keep fighting. He keeps fighting, to protect London, to protect Nora, till eventually he gets the upper hand, and he uses like a giant, the missile that you would put inside a tank. He manages to hide one of them at the Komodo dragon, and it accidentally bites it, and it explodes in its mouth. And when that happens, it distracts the Komodo dragon enough for Kong to pick it up by the tail and just swing it around. And what he ends up doing is he ends up throwing it and hurling it into a nearby burnt out building. But what happened with the Komodo dragon is it gets hurled against the building, it gets impaled. So it's now impaled on the side of the building, while the building is set alight, it starts to burn to death.
I don't know why, but the way that the last shot, I mean, where Big Ben, I'm surprised you didn't have him impale the iguana on the Big Ben's top there. That would have been a visual there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's not how the story goes.
Right.
So Big Ben is a national monument, so it's intact. There's no fucking giant lizard destroying the fucker. So basically, that happens. London is saved, the general is dead, and because there was no distractions to the British fleet to turn around to come back to London, they were managed to intercept the German fleet and stop Operation Team from happening. But as you know, the war continued for a few more years. In the meantime, Nora's reunited with Kong, and everything seems well until Kong begins to show signs at his weakening. And then suddenly when Nora, because she's a nurse, she looks at his injuries and she sees his blood and she sees the poison in his veins. She knows he's dying. He slowly lies in the middle of Piccadilly Circus with a crowd of people around him as he takes his last breath. And the Prime Minister arrives and personally herself the Union Jack flag for Kong and declares he's a hero and a member of Britain.
I gotta say something. I know I'm being funny, but I can't help but notice that sign in the back saying Guinness is good for you. I mean, I'm like, that sticks out in my mind. I'm sorry, but I mean, this moment right here is kind of melancholy. It's just kind of sad. It's like he died defending human beings who treated him badly, but it's.
But as he walks away, Winston Churchill and Nora and Jack embrace. He has a soldier, Winston Churchill, who goes, "I can't believe the goddamn lizard took down this magnificent animal." And that's when Winston Churchill turns around and he goes, "It wasn't the animals that took down Kong, it was beauty that killed the beast."
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going to make a twist to say it was the Nazis.
No. And that is where the film ends, with a shot of the whole crowd around Kong and Nora and Jack walking away, and Winston Churchill heading back to number 10. Wow. So that is my Kong movie.
It's interesting that now I can understand why you set yours in England, but I'm surprised for myself. I don't know why I set my storyline with Kong. It started in South America, but it ended in London, and I'm like, why did I do that? I mean, I don't know. That was just weird. I guess he was just doing something different. Maybe that's what it was.
Something different.
Well, it was very marvelously done, especially with the ending having more of an emotional weight to it.
Yeah.
Almost very
Yeah.
similar to the ending to Peter Jackson's.
Yes.
Mm.
What's your overall feels of this being going from America and Skull Island to now having a British feel to it, a British flavor?
I like I like how you have the twist at the end with Kong being not so much just a tragic creature, but more of a tragic hero,
Yes.
and actually being remembered as such, which is very refreshing after, of course, his traditional ending where he was like, oh, it was just a dumb animal that got himself cornered. This is actually a really refreshing farewell to Kong after his exit from the story, definitely. And I also like the little nod to King Kong escapes with the antagonist using a machine to try and brainwash
Yeah,
the monsters.
that did come into play.
But I like this because, like I say, this is set in during the World War II. The way I mean, I'm not sure that's not what she was going for, but then again, that's how I kind of see it. It's recognizing those because Kong in this moment is a soldier. He's fighting a war or battle against an antagonist, and some of the fallen heroes don't get recognition or get recognized for their bravery. They don't get recognized for their valor and trying to defend certain aspects in life. And it's good to know that even though Kong is that tragic hero, he is recognized. And I feel that's something that I feel a lot of soldiers in the past who have fought bravely to defend our way of life is should be recognized because, like I say, we wouldn't be here discussing stuff like this. We wouldn't be discussing these fun little aspects.
And
The
it's
kind
not too often a monster gets recognized as a hero, or as a soldier.
Mhm.
Like I was trying to think of an idea where you could incorporate a fictional story within human history. And as
Yeah.
you know, one of the most prolific wars is World War II.
Right.
It's a huge, it's such impactful. There's still films and movies and television shows, documentaries made every year, for the next generation to understand the events that transpired. So in my eyes, I wanted to do a movie that would incorporate that feel, but also had like a bit of adventure to it. And like you said, I wanted to make kind of like Kong be recognised as a hero rather than just an animal who was taken out of his location and held somewhere and out of its depth.
Was it the only films that really recognize someone like Kong as a hero is Gamera in the second Heisei film? They finally began to recognize him as a hero. And then I know there's one particular Godzilla film where he got recognized. Now, I'm not talking about the Showa films, but it's either Heisei or it was either Heisei or Millennium film where we do see a moment where the soldier kind of salutes him.
Yes. So, and also another inspiration for my story is that I have read a number of different stories from different places in the world of animals helping and being recognised as soldiers in wartime and have been given medals. Like there is a story about a bear that used to load the cannons up with its paws.
Mm.
I forgot the name of where that's from.
Oh, I
but
know who you're
that's
talking about.
and there's a story about a dog that literally used to
Yeah.
run in the battlefields and attack the enemy. There's so many different stories like that about animals who are willing to go the extra mile to protect its master or the people it deems, its family. So that was another inspiration of my story for this Kong arc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You really did your research on this, Kevin, I will say, especially with that aspect.
Oh, definitely. And like you see, I didn't want Kong to just. I wanted it to have a feel of the original about with Nora replacing, Rafie
Right.
and then I wanted it to also have the action adventure, but then I wanted it to tie into the World War environment. And then, like you said, Daniel, about the hypnosis of the creature tying it into past Kong movies. So I tried to deliver and give it a bit of everything.
Yeah.
I also like how you used the Komodo dragon instead of like a dinosaur. Like that was a good twist of Kong battling a new type of creature instead of like dinosaur or whatever from the MonsterVerse. That was a good concept.
Yeah, because I wanted it to feel real as well. I wanted it to have like
Yeah.
I said, this version of Skull Island, it's like super fauna, so it's like animals that you would see in the real world, but twice the size. So, like I see, they mentioned they've come across a deer who's got like a bit like the buffalo in Skull Island. That's got the moss on, and they come across like a giant crab on the beach, but they don't go near it because it's just resting, and then they're suddenly attacked by these giant lizards, which is the Komodo dragons.
It's good to have that familiarity with certain things because, like you say, if you put dinosaurs, it's like, yeah, you could put it in there, but have something that's more tangible that people will recognize in that time zone or even the present, and make it seem more, like I say, more verisimilitude in that sense, because, like you say, you want to have that realism. Because I'll be honest with you, a lot of people can look at something like this and it'd be like, if you put dinosaurs in there, I probably wouldn't be really, like, it's not really because it's dinosaurs have been gone for so many millions of years. But seeing giant iguanas, it's like, oh my god, that's terrifying, because they're, that's
If you've
something.
ever watched a documentary as well with the Komodo dragons, they are vicious.
Yes, and fast too.
If you ever see them documentaries with the Komodo dragon, they are mean little fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, but this has been a blast, and you have all got amazing imaginations. Like Walter, you thought, oh, I can't join the stream because I just can't, whatever, think of an idea or just something's not coming, and then you came in a dream.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I would never have imagined that to even brain, and knowing that, like I say, maybe that was, and then now I think about it, maybe because we were talking about the human baby, that maybe that's subconsciously triggered that for me while I was sleeping, because, like I say, when I dream, and I just dream just off the cuff, I get strange ideas, and usually I kind of put them into some kind of thing to make me say, "Wow, did I actually dream that?" But I feel that was the Achilles heel for me to bring up that concept.
Yes, but because I love doing these, I think it's great. It's creative. It gets with the thing, gets
Get the
with
juices going.
occupies it. It gets with juices. It's also connected to one of my favorite subjects, kaiju. We will be coming back with the second and the third in the series. The first one was recreating a reboot or reimagination of classic films or kaiju films outside of Godzilla. This one has been the King Kong edition, but the next one we'll be doing is going to be none other than the
Camera.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's probably going to come in November. So
I think I'll be
look
more ready
forward
for
to
that
that
one.
one. Those who have enjoyed this version, look forward to the camera version. But coming to the entertainment headquarters for the rest of this week is I'm going to be in two places at once. That's right, because I am a fucking, or should I say, you can film things, set them up, and play them later, because I am dedicating a week of content to the subscription service Hiya.
Okay.
That's right, Hiya, the martial arts channel. I subscribed to this a few months back, and I've been blown away with the number of the titles and films on this particular service. So I'm dedicating the week to Hiya. I've recorded 3 reviews so far. I've got 1 more to do, and they'll be set up ready to premiere throughout the course of next week on the channel. But where I'm going to be is I'm going to be in one of my favourite places, Chicago. But I ain't alone, because I'm going to be accompanied by Mr. Jedi Granville and Mr. Daniel Miller, the Professor, because guess what, people? We're going to G-Fest.
Yeah.
You're hitting there, baby.
So we're back.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a few days to chill out, relax, and then guess what, people? I'm going to do a blog about the memories and the moments the 2 of us, or the 3 of us rather, are going to share about G-Fest. But another thing I'm going to showcase is the things that are coming for the rest of the month of July. We've got the Mad Max 2 Retro Classic Movie Show with me, Mr. DJ Anubis.
Nice.
Me, DJ Anubis, and Anthony Jordan are going to be talking about The Fly and The Fly 2 as part of Into the Darkness. And because it's all things kaiju in the month of July, we cannot forget about the next Kaiju Connections classic villain review. Because we're going to go and talk about.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Fathoms.
Definitely got to talk about
The monster that started it all.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Reno Godzilla with the beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So that's what's coming up on the rest of the month of July here on the Entertainment Headquarters, where I'm going to go around with guests and see what's coming up in their lives and their channels. I'm going to start off with Mr. Jedi Granville.
Well, me personally, before I head to the windy city of Chicago, tomorrow I will be discussing with my niece, who will be on my channel for the first time. We're going to be discussing a film that is very relevant to us because, we grew up in that kind of environment a little bit, although we didn't be on the streets. We are going to be discussing the 35th anniversary of a John Singleton classic, Boys in the Hood, which is very something, reflecting back on it, it's funny how that is so detrimental to even now with certain generations, because it's like they're more reckless than they were in the films that we see in the past, like that. And like you say, I will be with Mr. Kevin Lambert and Mr. Daniel Miller in Chicago this coming week. And we will
Mom and Dad's going to look after the child.
Yes, we will look after the child, make sure that he's taken care of, make sure he has his pacifier, he has his diapers on, so he'll be all right.
Child, make sure you don't walk in on Mom and Dad either.
There you go, exactly. Don't do that.
Mommy might end up cheating on Daddy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I might cheat on Mommy, so we never know. But after we come back from Chicago, and life gets back to normal, as the saying goes, I will be doing my own podcast talking about the G Fest 26 and the reflections on that. And that Saturday after that, the coming Saturday after that, I will be doing top 10 favorite Godzilla designs, whether they become from any particular part of the media whatsoever, which will be on my channel. And hopefully some of you can attend to, whatever. But it's basically, what's your favorite design of Godzilla that you find more enjoyable, I like to say. But that's basically what I have coming out.
Nice. So, Mr. J. Cole, as always, you are my co-host on Television Chronicles, and we are going to be getting together in the near future to talk about the television series The Human Paper, which debuted this week on Netflix, is it?
Yes, it's on Netflix. It debuted on the 2nd.
And he'll also be joining us in the future for the Kaiju Connections classic Kaiju film review of Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Yes. Mr. Daniel Miller, what is coming up with you, my friend?
Well, I'm happy to say I have been cooking on something very new and very relevant to G-Fest. So, of course, you have to wait until after G-Fest is done, but when it arrives, it's going to be good. And I've also got an idea for a video, which I'd also like to invite most of you guys from the entertainment headquarters to be a part of. That will be the first live stream on my channel, Dan Filming, when we get back from G-Fest. On the
That's
radio
be
front,
fun.
yeah. It will be.
That's gonna be fun.
And what's the film?
Wow, films.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm not going to say what they are just yet, because they are connected. One's a direct sequel to the original. And
Porkies and Porkies 2.
No.
Mm.
But if I say it now, it's going to spoil the surprise. Okay, so you just have to keep your eyes and ears open and just wait for it, because when the first teaser comes, and it will come, the wait will be worth it.
And Naked Bernies. 1 and 2.
Is it gonna be? Don't tell me it's Dirty Grandpa.
No.
Oh, Dirty Grandpa and Bad Grandpa.
Trying not to laugh, but damn it.
No.
Right. Well, anyway, lots to look forward to with my good friend Mr. Daniel Miller, and don't forget he has his voice role career at the radio station where he's done a couple of voice work for on.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's Ooze Valley Radio, and I've done the voice acting for a counsellor character in the radio drama series Hunsford. I've just voiced my lines earlier this week, and that episode is set to be dropping very soon.
And didn't you recently get to do voice work for a movie?
Yes, that's a short film. A short film that is still in the works. Of course, I can't say a great deal about it because of how under wraps it is. But yes, I did voice acting for a short film as well, and I'm very much looking forward to when that one releases as well, and I'll be able to share it with everyone else.
Good. See,
Great.
Don't sell yourself short, Dan.
Nope.
Promote.
All the time.
Yes. And finally, BBW, Big Bad Wolf. What's coming to your?
Alright, so I'm still going to be editing more gameplay to Escape the Backrooms. That gets released every Tuesday at 4 p.m. And then every Saturday, I am still continuing my playthrough of the 2005 classic PS2 game that got a remake in 2020, Destroy All Humans, in which the series is called Big Bad Wolf Destroys All Humans. And then I also like to add a little bit, because I forgot to say this. So in my film, Kong, when he's standing like a gorilla, is 28 feet tall, whereas when he's standing straight up, he's 34 feet tall. The bear will be about 32 feet tall when it's on all fours, but when it's on its hind legs, it's 38 feet tall. And then the dinosaur Diablo is 40 to 41 feet.
Starting at AI has no. Nice.
But yeah, all I have is just a live stream and a video for everyone to look forward to each week. The video is always out on Tuesday at 4. The live stream is always on Saturdays at 10 a.m. And of course, I have that Beast with 20,000 Fathoms stream that I will be on with you later on this month.
Yes, that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one.
Yes. But anyway, gentlemen, once again, you guys have not disappointed with your creativity and imaginations. You've brought it to another great episode of fantasy filmmaking. I look forward to more in the future. And John, just some advice: don't send us 30,000 photos. Just send us 10.
I am sorry, that was not my intention.
You just got a whole load to unload.
Wait till you get your movie deal and you can, storyboard the fuck out yourself. Because I ain't doing it.
Go hard or go home, as they say.
I'm going hard, but I ain't going home. Anyway, with that said, keep loving your movies, keep loving all things entertainment, and as always, like my good friend Jedi Grandpa used to say, keep the kaiju love alive. Good night, everybody.